Hello and welcome to the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series live tonight from Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Illinois Trucking Association 200. This is the round of 12 of the playoffs, so hard in the wall goes Safe Ferris here in practice. Right now, fastest on the board, Dennis Faircloth, the number 80 machine, with a fast time of 50.339, just 4 1/1000ths faster than Keith Maiato. Dennis, one of the playoff drivers, looking for a good run here to try and catapult himself into the top 8, with this being the middle race here in the second round. Already one driver qualified, and moving on to next round, that is AJ Stravato, who finds himself sitting here on pit lane, and he has no stress on his shoulders. He is on his way to round 3 after his win last week. And AJ, a 6-time winner this season, twice as many race wins as anyone else in the series this year, and dominating once again and looking like he could be on his way to a repeat championship. But some contenders trying to find their way up there to challenge him. I'll take a look at the points here in just a moment as they enter into tonight's race. But here tonight, 80 laps, 200 miles, and we've got 3 stages: lap 20, lap 40, and lap 80, which would be the conclusion of the race. Drivers earning points if they're in the top 10 at the end of the stages. And it should be a really fun one here at one of the most historic racetracks in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As the drivers get ready to head to qualifying, we'll see where they stack up there, but let's take a look at the points as they enter into tonight's race. AJ Stravato, as mentioned, already moving on. He doesn't have to worry about where he finishes here tonight, and going to make it a lot easier for him to just run his own race at a track that has become exceedingly difficult with the new rules package. Seth Hatchell now second in the standings after race number 1. He finished runner-up to AJ Stravato, and right now runner-up to him in the standings. Keith Maiato, a 3-time winner, was running extremely well at Dover last week before being collected in a wreck, flying through the air and ultimately cutting his race short. He'll enter into tonight's race 3rd in the standings. And also, you've got Ryan Gemmel, Mark Emerson, Safe Ferris, Chris Simard, and Dallas Sullivan in the top 8. And the 4 drivers in red there, currently on the outside looking in. Eric Hutton, a driver who's won a couple stages but no race wins. He won 2 last season, and we'll see if he can capture one here tonight. Looking for a good couple of races here to end the round of 2. Nick Gardner also needs a good performance. Dennis Faircloth, as mentioned, also needs a good performance. And then right there at the bottom, Tony Baird missed race number 1. And I do see Tony here tonight, so he is going to have to win to advance at this point. He's going to be just too far behind, I believe, unless some things go terribly wrong for drivers right above the cut line, which is entirely possible, but we'll have to find out later on tonight how things are stacking up. As right now, nobody with a lap time in just yet. Looking at Michael Newman out here in the Ultra Chevy Camaro, making his way out of turn number 4. This track's so tricky to get around. Basically 4 similar corners, fairly flat, and very long straightaways connecting turns 1 and turns 3. And these short chutes between 1 and 2 and between 3 and 4. We go on board here with Michael, trying to make his way around. And the lap time's in the range of 50.5 seconds. And speeds right around 185, 190 down into turns 1 and turns 3. These short chutes are carrying about 175 miles an hour down into turns 2 and 4, and then they kind of lose a little bit more steam as they exit those corners, about 170 miles an hour. Once again, now down the front straightaway for Michael Newman. He's trying to improve from 7th position, and he will not improve on lap number 2. He'll drop to 9th as drivers like Keith Maiato improving across the line. Keith not able to top his lap time, but a great lap there at 50.39. AJ Stravato trying to improve from lap number 1. He's got a few tenths to make up. Dennis Faircloth jumps to second, so Dennis with some good speed here at Indy. We've seen Dennis have good pace at the road courses, and this track driving a bit like a road course with the way you get down into the corners. Well, let's see where Stravato stacks up as he works his way towards the start-finish line. Oh, and he's going to tag the outside wall. This lap is not going to count, so AJ won't earn the pole tonight. That'll be Keith Mayato for the moment, but does anybody have anything for him? Seth Hatchell, he's working on lap number 2, almost up into that outside wall. Trying to improve, currently 25th out of 26 drivers. His teammate Ryan Gemmel also behind him. Ryan trying to improve, a very slow lap time, 1 minute for the first lap. I think more of a bogey lap, and now he's really putting down his fast one as he comes out of turn number 4, trying to improve, currently 26th out of 26 drivers. And across the start finish line, the yard of bricks, he will run a 50.478, good for third to join his V-Speed teammates, first and second. And Hatchell, 54.38. He'll top Gemmel, and it'll be a V-Speed 1 through 4 here in qualifying. Safe Ferris, who you saw win last night in the Virtual Racing League, currently scored 8th. Jeremiah Vincent with a good lap time. He'll go 9th on lap number 1. Trying to improve on lap 2. Missed turn 1 just a little bit. I think he's going to be a little off on pace this time. But 9th quickest for the driver of the number 9. And 27 of 29 drivers have a lap time in. Jordan Brickyard working on his first flyer lap here in the number 84 Nashville's next with Benny machine. As he works his way out of turn 4 towards that start finish line. And now 182, 183, 184 at the line. Down in turn 1, 188. Jordan will go 25th. And trying to get that car slowed up. You can see he washed a little bit wide there. Might not be able to improve his lap time due to that, but right now a 51.89. Still has quite a bit to make up with the pole time being a 50.3. That is 1.5 seconds off the pace. And that is not going to fly for race time. He's going to be towards the back. Justin Carey, the only driver to not take a time, and that may be because he has an EO well to start at the back due to an incident last week. Not exactly sure. But Jordan working down start or the front straightaway, trying to improve. Let's see what he runs here on lap 2, 51.36. That will be an improvement. He'll jump to 22nd. Gaining a few positions here on his second flyer lap, trying to get it slowed up into the outside wall. But that should do it for qualifying. Essentially, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break and be right back with the starting grid.
Welcome to V-Speed, your home for sim racing excitement, providing dramatic moments from iRacing and beyond. We offer broadcasting for leagues across iRacing with specialized packages to help grow your league and advertise your sponsors.
Shot at it, I think, and right now Stravato with that advantage. It's half a car length the difference between first and second going into turn 1. He gives the bumper to Connor Horn.
These two have gone all year to get to this point. Jacob Shorba drifting up the racetrack. They make contact. The 88 goes around. The 95 goes around. The 12 caught in it.
Our design team can help you create anything from paint schemes to sim rig parts with expertise in both 2D and 3D design with 3D printing capabilities. Looking to get into broadcasting yourself? We can help you design and operate custom overlays to make your stream look as professional as possible. Our team can create and manage custom merchandise sales for you and your team. Check out our shop to see what we have in stock and how we can create some awesome merch for you. Check out our race replays on YouTube or catch us live weekly on Twitch. Visit us at vspeedsim.com to see how we can help you on your iRacing journey.
Hey, honey.
It's happening. The baby's coming.
Okay, I'm on the way.
Hey, buddy, you ready for the big game?
You're gonna be there, right, Dad?
Pal, you can count on me. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Hey, honey, Josh's flight landed early. He'll be here about 6:30. Can you make it?
Okay, I'm on my way.
We've got total gridlock out there this afternoon.
The average American spends over 40 hours a year, nearly 2 full days, stuck in traffic on our broken roads and bridges, while our lives move full speed ahead. It doesn't have to be this way.
Where is he?
Husband's on his way.
It's time for Washington to get America moving again by finally funding our country's infrastructure.
Where's Mom?
Tell Washington to fund America's infrastructure, because life won't wait.
V-Speed is proud to be partnered with Below the Double Yellow podcast, a podcast for NASCAR fans by NASCAR fans. Listen to Nick and Joe discuss all the latest on-track action, available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. V-Speed is also proud to present the 2021 Below the Double Yellow Cup Series, brought to you by the American Trucking Association, starting January 14th, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursdays at twitch.tv/vspeedsim.
Back at the racetrack now, waiting for qualifying to wrap up. Just 3 seconds to go. And a checkered flag is out. 28 out of 29 drivers have taken the time. And we'll see where they're starting here right away. Keith Mayato, your pole sitter here tonight, is going to lead V-Speed quadrant. For the first 2 rows, Keith Mayato, the number 36 machine, takes the pole tonight at Indianapolis. Chris Samar, his teammate, going to be starting to the outside. That number 37 car from second position. Let's see who is in row number 2. It's going to be Seth Hatchell starting in the 3rd position, and Ryan Gemmel starting from the 4th spot. Starting in 5th position here tonight, it is Dennis Faircloth, who's going to be that number 80 Geico machine, rolling off good starting position here tonight. The 48 machine going to be alongside him. That is AJ Stravato, starting in 6th. In 7th, it's going to be Eric Hutton, the number 77 machine. Save Fair is rolling off from the 8th spot. The number 44, looking for back-to-back wins here on V-Speed. If he can win tonight, it'd be a sweep of the broadcasts. In 9th position, Jeremiah Vincent. Starting in 10th, Josiah Vincent. Starting in 11th position, Alan Dice, the 57. Nick Gardner, the 16, going to be rolling off from the 12th position. Needs a good run here tonight. Nick Starling going to be starting in the 13th position. Eric Lambert rolling off from 14th, running that Memorial scheme once again. Great looking race car, and awesome meaning behind that one. We'll check it out later in the broadcast. Cody Adkins starting from the 15th position. Dallas Sullivan starting from 16th, needs a good run here as well. Tony Baird looking to make up for missing last week, starting 17th. Dennis Steele starting in 18th. Rolling off 19th, it's Michael Newman, and rounding out the top 20, Nick Alves. Starting 21st, Lane Sulfridge. 22nd, Jordan Brackell. 23rd, Kyle Payne. 24th, Jordan Shepler. 25th, Timmy Emanuele. 26th, Jacob Houston, making a first-time start here to the Cup Series. Lyle Sulfridge starting 27th. Robert Gilmore going to be starting in the 28th position. And rounding out the field tonight, Justin Carey in the 29th spot. That number 21 car going off from the rear. We want to welcome you here to V-Speed for the Illinois Trucking Association 200. Looking forward to a really exciting race here at the most historic track in the United States, maybe in the world. Let's take a look at what the track conditions are here this evening. 75-degree air temp, 100-degree track temp. We've seen drivers slipping and sliding. Also, a little bit of a tight setup, I think, on turn entry. So it could make for some interesting shifts in momentum down these long straightaways. If a driver misses a corner, you've got to be very precise getting around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The driver's going to be trying to get every lap as perfect as they can. Cheer on your favorite driver. Let us know you're out there and who you are rooting for. We'll try and follow along with them throughout the race tonight. We've got Blazer Pete cheering on Team V-Speed. We've got Senior Mucifer cheering on Simulator Anonymous drivers, Eric Lambert and Robert Gilmore. Of course, cheer on all your favorites here in chat, and we'll try and follow along. But right now, it's going to be Keith Mayato leading his 3 teammates to the green flag here tonight. Pace car onto pit road. And we are underway. Green flag in the air from Indianapolis as the field heads down the front straightaway towards turn number 1. Mayato getting the quick advantage over Seth Hatchell. And the field 2x2 behind them as Simard and Gemmel side by side trying to figure it out. Here comes AJ Stravato with the run off the high side. Will he take it 3 wide with the V-Speed teammates here down the backstretch? Makes a move down low. He might get to the inside of Gemmel. Gemmel will give him space as Stravato was there. And the 48 already trying to gain a spot on lap 1. Not able to capitalize out of turn number 3 and through turn number 4. Going to try and find some footing there between the 80 machine of Dennis Faircloth and the number 6 car. And here comes Eric Hutton with a huge run behind the 80. But Mayato leading at the start-finish line will take him back down into turn 1. And Keith Mayato, 3-time winner. He's had some other opportunities that has slipped away this season. He doesn't want to let one slip away here tonight if he can manage that. And Dennis Faircloth, we saw get into the outside wall there out of turn number 1, and that is going to hurt the straight line speed of that race car. He's getting passed up now by Safe Ferris, who just cuts across the nose, able to clear the 80 into turn number 3, and that moves Faircloth back to the 8th spot. Already 2 positions lost for the driver who was fastest in the practice session and very quick in qualifying. And nearly into the wall behind him goes Josiah Vincent. So hard to see where you're going when you're nose to tail like this. They're nearly 3 wide, but the 4 car out of line. He's going to get to the back of the 80, and he'll actually remain in line. Not a big enough run there. And look at this, the 80 of Faircloth slipping up the racetrack just a little bit, but able to lower down. We see Eric Lambert also getting a bit out of shape there out of turn number 1. That metallic green machine memorializing his good friend Ethan, aka Astarion HD, big member of the RP community and a big member of Simulators Anonymous, was lost tragically within the last couple of weeks. And Eric here running a memorial scheme to his good friend once again this week. And he is battling right now just outside the top 10. A pretty good start to this event for him in the 12th position. And right now, Alan Dice, Nick Starling, Dallas Sullivan right behind him. We've got side by side between Dennis Steele and Cody Adkins. And ooh, Dennis Steele nearly into the wall, maybe tagged it just a little bit. But that opened the door for Nick Alves to go to the inside of Cody Adkins as those two will duel it out down the back straightaway. And Safe Fair is trying to catch back up to Eric Hutton, who has gained a couple of positions here early on in tonight's race. Hutton looking for that first victory of the year. And it has been a little while. He didn't have the best ending to the 2020 season. He had 2 victories last year and has yet to find victory lane here in the below the WL Cup Series. Does have a win over in Virtual Racing League on Wednesday nights, but he has not found one here this season. And right now, below the cut line, entering into the race, trying to find some footing there, and right now in the 6th position. Everybody pretty well single filed out at this point, It's going to be all about hitting your marks lap after lap as we go to the nose cam of Seth Hatchell trying to track down race leader Keith Mayato. Seth has closed up the gap just a little bit last time by, about a tenth faster than his teammate. And the dirty air will play in effect here. So Seth, the harder he pushes, the more he is using up his stuff here running behind Mayato. But there's really only one way around this racetrack, and that is the line that they're running. You've got to get the apex just right, let it drift up to the outside wall between the two corners on each end. As Josiah Vincent getting passed up by Nick Gardner, and they are checked up behind him. Here comes Jeremiah Vincent. I think Josiah tagged the wall, nearly gets into the quarter panel of Jeremiah, and that's going to open the door now for Dallas Sullivan, Eric Lambert, Alan Dice, and others, all working their way to the inside of the 4-car. So Josiah with an issue early on in this thing. And stage 1 is not a very long one, only 20 laps. He's got to be sure that he doesn't make any more significant errors, because that could really cost him for later in the race. And we have got kind of smaller groups forming now. The leaders have pulled away. Then you've got kind of this pack behind Jeremiah Vincent, about 5-6 cars, and then another 4 or 5 cars behind Cody Adkins. Then those groups are starting to get closer and closer. As you see, that is Tony Baird really sending it into turn number 3, trying to find a way around, but that was not the way through that corner. Here comes Michael Newman, going to start to put a charge on behind him. It's the 98 a little bit loose there out of turn 4. Can he hold on to this spot? Pretty deep in the field for Tony Baird, who really needs a win to try and advance to the next round. Already in a bad position after not making last week's race. As Michael Newman all over the back bumper. He's going to look down low through turn number 2. He could get to the inside of Tony Baird and maybe get alongside the door and use a little bit of that side draft. He's at the quarter panel, and actually real good run down the back straightaway for both drivers. And the 12 pulling a little bit of a draft from the 57 of Alan Dice. We see a little brush to the wall there. Kyle Payne behind them all by himself. In the 21st position, no real battles to speak of, but Eric Hutton starting to track down AJ Stravato. He's pulled a slight margin over Safe Ferris, riding in that 6th position and trying to get 5th from the 48. And he is really the only one close to anybody else up here in the top 10. That's Nick Gardner, that 9th position, leading the trio here of Jeremiah Vincent and Dallas Sullivan. And then right behind them, the number 3 of Eric Lambert, the 12th position right now. And now side by side a bit farther back, that's Timmy Emanuele, I believe, alongside the 12 of Michael Newman as they make their way towards turn number 3. And he'll take that spot away. That's 22nd. Timmy working slow and methodically, I think, here early on. But the 12 trying to get back underneath. He is going to get there. Will he make the corner entering like that? Remains to be seen, but the Tesla Mobile able to take the spot away, so he'll capture 22nd. And there was a battle in front of those two that settled itself out. That was Kyle Payne and Lane Sulfridge. But they are not done just yet. Here comes Lane trying to get back to the outside. Not a good enough run there in turn number 1. He'll try again here in turn 2. But mostly single filed out at this point. We do have a change of position in the top 5. That's going to be Eric Hutton passing up AJ Stravato halfway through stage number 1. Safe Ferris maybe starting to reel those two in once again as well. But Mayato able to maintain a lead of about 5.5 tenths over his teammate Seth Hatchell. And that gap actually increasing now to 6.5 tenths as he put down the fastest lap of anyone last time by. And the top 2 are the quickest on the racetrack at the moment. Samard about another tenth slower Then Hatchell and Gemmel the same exact lap time as Chris Samard. Eric Hutton about 0.2 slower than both of those drivers, and then Stravato another half second off the pace. Maybe an issue for the 48. As he rides in 6th position. But again, the 48 of Stravato, no concern about winning here tonight. He just wants to help his teammates. If he can capture a win, then that would be awesome for him. Shoehorn Bill, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in here tonight. Hope you're enjoying the race. Still in the early going here at Indianapolis for the Illinois Trucking Association 200. Keith Maito has led every single lap and pulling out a bit more of a gap over his teammate as the lap time starting to fall off a bit for all of these guys. It's going to get harder and harder to make those passes, but some battles may be starting to form. Nick Gardner in 10th. And Jeremiah Vincent right there behind him. Just a car length behind, you saw Dennis Faircloth trying to break the draft in front of them. He pulled all the way down to the inside grass and trying to keep as much of a gap to those guys as he possibly can. Right now, 8 seconds behind your race leader here, 12 laps in. Not quite the start for the 80 car that I had pictured. As we have a battle farther back, that's Alan Dice to the inside of Cody Adkins. And we had another car very low to the inside. And we've got Timmy Emanuele and Lane Sulfridge. I think a bit of contact there. Timmy's going to take the spot away. Everybody hangs on to it as now the 39 trying to close in on this battle in front. That's Kyle Payne and Tony Baird. Tony Baird in the playoffs in the round of 12. But right now at the bottom of those standings and trying to get a run out of turn 2 to try and make the move on the 68, closing in right now. They make their way towards turn number 3. Not close enough to make the move, but the 68 tags the outside wall. We've seen him do that a couple times, and that checks them all up behind him. Jeremiah Vincent still not able to make the move on Nick Gardner. Nick could use these couple of playoff points, or rather stage points. Riding in 9th position, those would be very crucial for a driver who's on the outside of the cut line. Trying to make it into that top 8. The winner from Talladega, the only driver with a win on the outside of the cut line, but trying to find his way into that next stage of the playoffs. As Keith Maito now 1 second out in front of his teammate Seth Hatchell, and their teammates Chris Samard and Ryan Gemmel another second and a second and a half behind, respectively. And then another second and a half or so back to Eric Hutton. And AJ Stravato starting to feel the pressure from Safe Fares. That's going to be for the 6th position. And Safe has been pretty good with the long run speed here as of late. And showing some good patience at this point in the race, where we've seen him have issues. Trying to track down that 48, but you could see how much slower he had to make it through the corner. Down the back straightaway, still about 5-6 car lengths separating these two. Safe trying to get as low as possible in the aero push, playing a bit of a factor at this range. But they have pulled a massive gap back to Dennis Faircloth, who puts on a big slide out of turn number 4. And that's going to allow the gap back to Nick Gardner and Jeremiah Vincent to close up even more. And that is the last thing he wants to see. He needs the points as much as anybody. And he would not want to hand one of those over to another playoff driver. Look at the big slide there out of turn number 1. Really wheeling that race car, trying to get it to the end of the stage in one piece. And the way he's driving, it might not end up that way. So we've got to be very careful. As we have a battle a bit farther back, you see Dennis Steele to the inside of Alan Dice there for a moment. And we've got cars 2-3 wide. That is Kyle Payne down low, I think. No, that is Tony Baird dropping like a rock. He's got heavy right side damage. And now falling to 25th position. He's going to make contact with Justin Carey. They save it. The 70 car goes through the middle. And Tony Baird trying to hang on to it down there in the grass. Bad start to the race for the number 98, who needed a stellar performance, and it has not been the case so far. Almost dead last. He's going to bring it to pit lane. That will make him last on the field, as Robert Gilmore will take away that position. He'll go to 28th, and the 98 working his way down pit road as the race leaders working through turns 3 and 4. He could very easily go a lap down, as Keith Mayato continues to stretch that gap out over his teammates. Now 1.5 seconds and growing lap after lap. This time by a 52.83 for Mayato. The only driver in the 52s, Seth Hatchell, the next closest with the 53.02. So that is a full 0.2 of a second that time by, and Mayato really pouring it on as they get towards the end of stage number 1. Another stage win would add to his playoff points total. He's got the second most of anyone, and trying to close the margin between himself and AJ Stravato so he can essentially lock himself into the championship 4. Stravato with a massive advantage with 47 playoff points coming into tonight's race. It has been able to hold off Safe Ferris. Safe just 10 points above the cut line. He's really wheeling it behind the 48, trying to close that margin. And he is closing it up. It's been closed up about 2 or 3 car lengths, but still not close enough to make the move. Gonna have to push it even harder here with 2 more to go in the stage. And these drivers 7.2 seconds on back from the race leader. Not gonna have a shot to win the stage, but at least could earn a few stage points. And not a great corner there for Safe. He loses a little bit. And oh, the 80 car of Dennis Faircloth maybe off the wall, not exactly sure, but now he's got a challenger in Nick Gardner, who's going to go to the outside, and he is going to lose that spot to both the 16. And here comes Jeremiah Vincent, who might be able to make the pass on the outside as well. But Dennis Faircloth losing vital positions late in the stage, and Dallas Sullivan also back here waiting to pounce in that race car, which would be very fitting with the cat on the hood. Can he get up to Dennis Faircloth for the final stage point? That's going to be the battle to watch here, as everybody else pretty well spread out. Ryan Gemmel is closing in on his teammate Chris Samard, but maybe not close enough. Dallas, seeing what the 80 is going through right now, trying to put down a really good lap. I think Dennis a little bit flustered, trying to recover here, trying to hang on to that final stage position, as this is the one to go. Mayato working his way out of turn number 4, 1.7 seconds over his teammate Seth Hatchell. He's going to win stage number 1. The V-Speed teammates 1 through 4, and then Eric Hutton in the 5th position. AJ Stravato nearly losing the spot to Safe Ferris. They're going to be in a pretty close heat there, as Nick Gardner, Jeremiah Vincent, Dennis Faircloth, and Dallas Sullivan not close enough. He's not going to get there, so Dennis hangs on for 10th. Maybe one more lap. I think Dallas would have had him, and Dallas moving up through the field a little bit. And that 46 car has been very consistent this season. Really good to see the performance boost from last year and the improvements that Dallas has made throughout this season. Keith Mayato, though, winning the stage. The 36 car, another playoff bonus point, as well as 10 stage points. Seth Hatchell 2nd, Chris Samard 3rd, Ryan Gemmel 4th, Eric Hutton 5th, AJ Stravato 6th, Safe Ferris 7th, Nick Gardner 8th, Jeremiah Vincent 9th, and Dennis Faircloth rounding out the top 10 in the stage. As the field works to catch up to the pace car, we're going to go to another side-by-side commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to V-Speed, your home for sim racing excitement, providing dramatic moments from iRacing and beyond. We offer broadcasting for leagues across iRacing with specialized packages to help grow your league and advertise your sponsors.
Shot at it, I think, and right now Stravato with that advantage. It's half a car length the difference between first and second going into turn one. He gives the bumper to Connor Horn.
These two have gone all year to get to this point. Jacob Shorba drifting up the racetrack. They make contact. The 88 goes around. The 95 goes around. The 12 caught in it.
Our design team can help you create anything from paint schemes to sim rig parts with expertise in both 2D and 3D design with 3D printing capabilities. Looking to get into broadcasting yourself? We can help you design and operate custom overlays to make your stream look as professional as possible. Our team can create and manage custom merchandise sales for you and your team. Check out our shop to see what we have in stock and how we can create some awesome merch for you. Check out our race replays on YouTube or catch us live weekly on Twitch. Visit us at vspeedsim.com to see how we can help you on your iRacing journey.
V-Speed is proud to be partnered with Below the Double Yellow podcast, a podcast for NASCAR fans by NASCAR fans. Listen to Nick and Joe discuss all the latest on-track action, available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. V-Speed is also proud to present the 2021 Below the Double Yellow Cup Series, brought to you by the American Trucking Association, starting January 14th, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursdays at twitch.tv/vspeedsim.
A little bit of a development right here. Safe Fair is with an issue on pit lane. Made it into his box, it appeared, and did not stop. Didn't take any tires or fuel. Maybe a mistake there. Miscommunication, not exactly sure what happened, but the 44, currently the race leader, and Keith Mayato wins the battle off for the drivers who took tires. Chris Simard will gain a couple spots, or a spot rather, over his teammate Seth Hatchell. Ryan Gemmel up there as well. But a driver that I think we're going to try and get a quick interview in with Dallas Sullivan, who has made up quite a few spots during stage number 1. See if we can pull him in here. Dallas Sullivan, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Adam, I do. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. And that 46 car is looking pretty racy here tonight. You're up 6 spots already in this at a track that's so hard to pass. How is it feeling for you? And you think you can continue to move forward?
Yeah, I sure hope so. I didn't get a great qualifying effort in there. I messed up one of my laps and had to reset. So I'm, kind of mid-pack, and caught a couple lucky breaks on some guys, racing side by side, and just was able to take advantage of that and kind of hold my spot. So I'm up here at the fast guys now. I don't think it'll be quite as easy to pick these guys off, but we'll give it our best shot.
Yeah, don't sell yourself too short. You've had some really good runs here this season, and a really big, I would say, improvement over last year. Is there something you found out over, the off season and throughout this season that's really helped you out, throughout this year?
Yeah, man, just got to take these races lap by lap and get to the end. I didn't do that a lot last season, so I've been able to get to the finishes here, and that's been the biggest thing for me, and definitely got me where I'm at today.
Yes, sir. Doing a good job. It looks like you'll be restarting from the 9th position, so a long ways yet to go. Good luck out there, and we'll see if we talk to you at the end.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Adam. Hope to talk to you later.
All right. And that was Dallas Sullivan, as I will try and move him back up with his teammates here. There we go. That's the right room. But doing a good job so far. Up 7 spots now to the 9th position. And we'll see if he continues to march forward. A driver who's really making the rise through the ranks here at the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series. And up here in the playoffs still, the round of 12, and trying to advance to the round of 8. Has a pretty good shot at it here with the way he's running tonight. As Keith Mayato, Chris Simard will get us going for stage number 2. Pace car makes the hard left-hand turn onto pit road. And here we go, back up to speed. They go down the front stretch. My Auto with a good restart as they are checking out AJ Stravato jumping down to the inside lane right past the start-finish line. And going to try and work his way underneath Nick Gardner, who gained a few spots on pit road. A 16 car, I believe 9th or 8th at the end of the stage. And he is losing a couple spots in rapid succession here. That could open up the opportunity for Dallas Sullivan to move to the inside. The 16 holding steady though between the 9 and the 46, as we've got some blocking maybe going on up here. The 77 of Eric Hutton trying to get into the V-speed party up here, 1 through 4th. And he is trying to break into it. The LDR teammates in the 5th and 6th positions. And then Jeremiah Vincent for VMS right behind them. Those kind of satellite teams of one another. Safe Fair is going to be in a bit of a hole here. All the way back in 22nd, a driver who was up there battling for really a top 6 or so. Gonna have to be very patient working through the pack. He's already earned some points tonight, and we'll see if he and Dennis Faircloth, who also had an extended stop, 52 seconds to get that damage repaired on the right side. He's back here in the 20th position. Now you see Safe working to the inside of Justin Carey. And the 44 trying to capture that 21st position, as we've got close battling. Well, semi-close compared to before up towards the front. Now Dallas Sullivan working to the inside of Nick Gardner. We'll see if he utilizes the side draft at all here across the start-finish line, just up against the quarter panel. And down into turn number 1, the 46 trying to find the 8th position on the board, and the 16 of Nick Gardner nearly slipping up into the outside wall as they race tightly through turn number 2. Dallas not able to make that corner work, and he's got the 99 of Nick Starling behind him, starting to apply some pressure. Nick with a pretty solid start to this race, up 3 spots and into the top 10. And then below, the double yellow Toyota Camry. Behind his good friend there, Dallas Sullivan. We'll see if they cut each other any slack. I know Nick out of the playoffs after the first round. Bit disappointed with how things ended up working out for him. Got caught up in multiple wrecks throughout the first 3 races of the playoffs, and survived one last week as soon as he was eliminated. A bit of irony there. And looking to just kind of, for posterity, really have some good performances here and try and disrupt these playoff guys that are still fighting for the championship. Nick never one to give up and always trying to get up there and race for that win. Doing a good job up here in the 10th position. A little bit farther back, we see Lane Sulfridge to the inside of Kyle Payne. Dennis Steele getting that big push from the 68. That's going to push him on by the 71. And now Lane clearing Kyle through turn 3 as they make their way back towards the front straightaway. You can see there's some drivers who are really able to hook that inside line and get the apex just right, as Dennis Faircloth nearly brushing the outside wall behind these cars here. That is Cody Adkins and the 70 of Lyle Sulfridge fighting it out for 17th, 18th, and 19th with the 80. And Dennis definitely quick, but has to be patient and just wait for the car to come to him and wait for these guys to start fading a little bit more. He's going to get to the inside of Cody Adkins that time. And Safe Fair is trying to pull a draft off of the 80. Safe trying to work past Nick Alves as they work side by side down the backstretch. And no other real battles up there in the top 10 or top 15. It's all just back here. And Dennis not able to make it work. Those two hooked up on the outside lane, able to push one another. And essentially blocking the road for the 80. But Cody, big wiggle down low. That could open up the door on the outside, as now Faircloth in the draft of the 70 of Lyle Sulfridge. And he is actually going to get right on past Cody Adkins, try and cut to the inside here in turn 1 and see if he can make the pass on Lyle. And he is making good progress right there. He'll clear him all the way up into turn number 2. And Safe Fair is now closing in on this battle. Safe up to 20th after restarting even farther back than that. One driver to note, Tony Baird is out of the race. He took it behind the wall 13 laps ago. So essentially as few points as possible for the driver of the number 98 through these first 2 races. He didn't start last week, and he's going to finish dead last this week, so he's going to have to win to advance next week. As we've got Dallas Sullivan making a big move down to the inside here alongside Nick Gardner. That's going to be for that 8th position, still trying to work on it. As he'll go to the inside in turn 1. And Nick, really good run on the high side, going to stay right alongside down into turn number 2. And Nick Starling probably going to push the 46 if he can get close enough. But Dallas able to make the pass. And now the 16 kind of boxed in with the 99 underneath him. And Dallas, a really good run down the backstretch. He'll pull out in front of the 16 by 2 car lengths or so. As they work their way through 3 and 4. Give that 46 car the 8th position. And Eric Lambert, real good run here tonight in the 11th spot. I know he didn't have the run that he wanted that paint scheme to have last week at Dover, but a much better performance so far this evening. Up 3 spots into that 11th position, and he could get up there and challenge for a top 10 if all things go according to plan. But definitely a nice looking paint scheme and a great tribute to a good friend. And showing off some speed here tonight. Meanwhile, out in front, Keith Mayato has pulled away by 1.1 seconds. And Seth Hatchell saying, what do I have to do to keep up with that car? And Seth was able to get by Chris Samard. Ryan Gemmel back to where he was in the 4th position. And then Eric Hutt and AJ Stravato essentially running where they have been all race long. Jeremiah Vincent moving up to 7th, a good race for him. Up 2 positions so far in a race where it's going to be incredibly difficult to pass, and track position so important. Some of these guys really doing everything that they can to gain spots and maintain those positions. Dallas Sullivan closing in a little bit on that number 9 car. Last time by, about 2.5 tenths faster. So that 46 machine, really some speed here, especially as the run goes on. He's as quick as everybody up there in the top 6. Other than perhaps race leader Keith Mayato with that fresh air, he's got a massive advantage over the rest of the field. And that is evident by the lap time. He was, last time by about 1/10 quicker than Seth Hatchell, but the previous lap he was about 3/10 quicker. So maybe a bit of an off lap for Keith, only 1/10 faster than the rest of these guys. 1.2, 1.3 seconds as it continues to tick upwards. And Mayato looking to add another stage win to his repertoire following lap number 40. We've got old Bill in chat cheering on Ryan Gemmel, who's up here racing with his teammates, still looking for that first win of the year. And I know Ryan a bit discouraged. He hasn't been able to capture one. He's been so close so many times this year. A winner last year at Michigan here in the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series, and just still searching for that first one in 2021. And the driver of the 6 car, one of the most consistent in terms of finishing positions through the regular season. I think only one driver had more top 5s and top 10s than he did, and that was his teammate Seth Hatchell. And neither of them ended up winning the regular season championship. That was AJ Stravato just edging out the 8 car of Hatchell. And that really, just by nature of all the race wins, giving him all the bonus points, a lot of stage wins and things like that. And just beat him by a few points at the end of race number 10. And Stravato, a 2-time winner here in the playoffs. Keith Mayato, also a 2-time winner in the playoffs. And trying to make that 3-time in the first 5 races of the playoffs. Keith in his first season here in the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series. 3 race victories so far on the year. 2 of them in the playoffs. Trying to build on that momentum and lock himself into round number 3 as we are getting closer and closer to halfway here at Indianapolis. Caution is going to fly. And that is the 71 of Lane Sulfridge, and he has lost the nose, and he is going to be in big trouble. Let's see what happened to Lane Sulfridge here on lap number 36. The Hot Wheels machine down low there. So work into turn number 1. Not exactly sure. Maybe just bounced it. Yep, bounces it off the outside wall and then hard across the track into the inside wall. And big hit for Lane Sulfridge. The Hot Wheels machine could pretty much end his night. That's what has brought out the first caution for a crash in tonight's race, but I think that should also end the stage. Let's take a look at the stage results. Keith Mayato winning the stage. Another playoff point, 10 more bonus points as well. Seth Hatchell, Chris Simard, Ryan Gemmel, Eric Hunt, AJ Stravato. Status quo remains the same here in stage 2. The top 6 are all in the same exact spot they were in stage 1. Jeremiah Vincent, however, up to 7th. Dallas Sullivan into the 8th position. Nick Gardner in 9th. Nick Starling rounding out the top 10 in stage number 2. As the field will head towards the pit lane. It's been a pretty quiet event. And War Bovine cheering on Robert Gilmore. And Das Warlock saying, "Don't jinx him." And right now, Robert in the 26th position, just running a quiet race back here. Biding his time, waiting for everybody else to make mistakes, where he can start to make up some ground that way. As the field working down pit road, into their pit stalls. We'll see who wins the battle off as Keith Mayato into the box nicely. Chris Simard right there behind him. Can anybody beat the 36 off of pit road? Hatchell with the good stop. He might get back to the 2nd position, and he will. The V-Speed teammates remain 1 through 4, and it looks like essentially everyone with the same exact spot, except for Dallas Sullivan, who loses 5 positions with a terrible pit stop, 15.8 seconds. Maybe a mistake there. And the driver of the 46 not going to be happy after working up to the 8th position. Got a little bit more distance to cover here in the 3rd stage. Safe Fair is up to 10th. What a pit stop there for the driver of the 44. Also Dennis Faircloth up to 11th. So both of those drivers continuing to march back through the field and going to need those points here at the end of the race. But we are going to go to a quick commercial break to hear from a couple of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Simulators Anonymous is an online gaming community. The heart of this community is playing simulator-style games, everything from driving, farming, flying, to the occasional survival game. We would love for you to join us. If you play these style of games, or if you're just looking for a great community, we strive to be a community you can be an active participant in by offering events like every 3rd Saturday night is a late night trucking on Truckers MP. We have a very own Minecraft server and with other servers starting soon. Come join Simulators Anonymous today at www.simulatorsanonymous.com.
Hey, honey.
It's happening. The baby's coming.
Okay, I'm on the way.
Hey, buddy. You ready for the big game?
You're gonna be there, right, Dad?
Pal, you can count on me. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Hey, honey, Josh's flight landed early. He'll be about 6:30. Can you make it?
Okay. I'm on my way.
We've got total gridlock out there this afternoon.
The average American spends over 40 hours a year, nearly 2 full days, stuck in traffic on our broken roads and bridges, while our lives move full speed ahead. It doesn't have to be this way.
Where is he?
Husband's on his way.
It's time for Washington to get America moving again by finally funding our country's infrastructure.
Where's Mom?
Tell Washington to fund America's infrastructure, because life won't wait.
The field working through turns 3 and 4, about to get going for stage number 3. It's going to be Keith Mayato, Seth Hatchell, Chris Simard, Ryan Gemmel, Eric Hutton, the top 5. AJ Stravato, Jeremiah Vincent, Nick Gardner, Nick Starling, and Safe Fair is the top 10. As the pace car going to make that hard left-hand turn on the pit lane. We're under control of the 36 machine. And green flag back in the air as we get going once again from Indianapolis for the Illinois Trucking Association 200. The 36 brings them down into turn number 1 again, and we've got big moves going on right here. Stravato trying to get to the inside of Ryan Gemmel. Not quite able to do it as the 6 car brought him all the way down to the inside wall. And Stravato going to drop in behind his teammate Eric Hutton, who still rides in that 5th position. A very good quiet night for the 77. And we'll see if he can put any pressure on that 6 machine to break up into that V-speed quadrant right there, those top 4. As Safe Fair is trying to make some moves back here. He's gotten around Nick Starling. And he'll look to the inside now of Nick Gardner. So the 44 charging forward, as well as Dennis Faircloth up to 11th, starting to put pressure on the 99. That bright neon green machine, and Alan Dice getting to his inside this time. Dallas Sullivan also trying to recover. He's in the 13th spot, right where he restarted and trying to get back up there in the top 10 where he was running at the end of stage number 2. Big wiggle there from Josiah Vincent, who has struggled here tonight. And we're used to seeing Josiah run a little bit better than this. Right now in the 15th position. Started in 10th and expected him to be a challenger up there in the top 10, but has just gone backwards as the night has gone on, and still trying to find his footing here past halfway in the race. Meanwhile, up here, battle for the 4th position. Ryan Gemmel still holding off Eric Hutton, and Hutton could use every single point he can get right now. The first car on the outside looking in. So good stage points already. But he could use a little bit more here. I'm sure he would be happy with even better than 5th position, where he's essentially been all race long. Gemmel working the wheel on the inside of that race car, trying to keep the grip in those tires, in the 77, stalking him every which way. Stravato not able to keep up with the top 5. He's been here in the 6th position all race long. And look at that, Safe Fair is up to 8th, putting the pressure on Jeremiah Vincent now. And Safe, who was running up there in the 7th spot before the pit road mishap, trying to get back to his original position and doing a really good job here these opening few laps. Meanwhile, Alan Dice up in this 11th spot. He is doing a great job as well. Starting to put pressure on Nick Gardner. Dallas Sullivan's been able to make it past the 80 of Dennis Faircloth, who has struggled a bit here since the drop of the green flag. After showing so much speed in practice, has not amounted to as much as I'm sure he would have hoped for in tonight's race. Right now in that 13th position, riding behind the 46, who are pretty close contenders in this playoffs, and be an advantage for Dallas to stay out in front of that 80 car. How about Eric Lambert, still up here in the top 15? Right now in the 14th spot. Not the highest position he's been all race long, but definitely a strong performance from him right where he started here in the 14th spot. Dennis Steele tagging the outside wall right there. He's up a couple positions from where he started and still looking for a little bit more out of that 28 tonight. He's still got an opportunity to get up there and get the top 15, but right now struggling a little bit with the handling that race car as he leads kind of these guys towards the back of the pack around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Keith Maotto already a second out in front of his teammate, and that 36 car on rails here tonight, looking for his 4th victory of the season. Still quite a ways to go, and anything can happen as we've got a battle still raging for that 4th spot. Ryan Gemmel trying desperately to hold off the 77 as Hutton within a car length down the front straightaway, but all of these guys getting draft from another car. Gemmel looking in his mirror quite a bit, I think. He's missed a couple of these corners here over the last couple laps and really pushing it on the exit of these in-turns in 1 and 3. And you can see the 77 so smooth out of turn number 2 right there. Still about a car length and a half behind. We'll see if he gets the run down the backstretch. Really good momentum for that car. He fakes a move to the inside. Gemmel not going to be fooled by that, though. He'll stay right in line and go exactly where he needs to make that corner. Real good run through turn 3 for him that time. And we'll see what the margin is out of turn number 4. Right now about 2.5 car lengths. But Hutton so good out of 2 and 4. Gemmel pretty solid into 1 and 3. And that gap still about 2.5 car lengths. As we go a little bit farther back, Nick Starling on the back bumper of Jeremiah Vincent. This is for the 8th and 9th positions. And I think both cars maybe with a hint of right front damage. I'm not exactly sure about the 9, but the 99 definitely has some. But down the back straightaway they go, about 180, 185 miles an hour. Nearly 190 as they work into turn number 3. And good run for both of these drivers so far in tonight's race. Nick Gardner here hanging in the top 10, doing exactly what he needs to do to get a strong finish tonight, and he'll get a good amount of bonus points with the way the stages have played out. And essentially what he did in the finale for round 1 of the playoffs, he earned just enough points to advance, and not many more than that, and it was definitely uncertain who was moving on, with a lot of craziness in that race. And right now doing a good job, a winner from Talladega earlier this season, looking for another one, or at least another set of strong performances to continue to stay in contention. As Dallas Sullivan, he's up just 1 spot on this run so far. Still trying to hunt down Alan Dice right there in front of him. These guys, good friends. They work down the front straightaway Dallas trying to get a little bit of the draft, but it is not really pulling him forward. Just kind of staying even as the 57 with some draft from the 16. Dallas a bit wide through the corner, trying to wheel that thing up on out of turn number 2. Let's go to the American Trucking Association in-car camera. They'll head down the back straightaway. And Dallas Sullivan trying to find some pace. And Dennis Faircloth working to his inside right now is actually going to take that spot away. So Faircloth back up to 12th. And he's got his eyes set forward on the 57 and the 16 to get back into the top 10. I want to thank all of you for tuning in here tonight for the Illinois Trucking Association 200 from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. If you're enjoying the race, consider following us on these platforms right here on your screen: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where you can stay up to date with what we're doing throughout the week. We will be live here next week for the conclusion of round 2 of the playoffs, right here on Twitch. And then following that race, we will be switching over to YouTube and Facebook broadcasting. So you'll want to stay connected to us on those platforms to see where we're broadcasting each night. And we'll still have a presence here on Twitch, but it's going to be a change in content to really more in-car camera stuff from our own drivers here on Team V-Speed, as well as some other simulator and racing game content. So a little bit of a change for what you'd usually see here. As Ryan Gemmel has lost quite a few spots. He's made contact with the outside wall. And I don't know if there was maybe a little bit of help there. See if we can go back and find out what happened to Ryan. It was a little ways back, that is for sure. Yeah, lost a few spots here. Let's see, this is probably around where it happened. Headed down into turn number 1, just really deep into the corner. I think he just missed it. And then, yep, tags the outside wall. That shoots him down to the inside. Very similar to what happened to the 71 of Lane Sulfridge. Ryan able to hang on to it, but he is dropping like a rock right now in the 7th position. Been passed up by a lot of other drivers. Safe Fair is on the pit road. Interesting call here. Kind of an early pit stop. He'll have to go 28 laps. And thank you for the follow, or the subscription, Not Your Average Noah. Another one for him. That is going to be 16 months. Thank you so much. As Safe overshot his pit box just a little bit. That will cost him, as there goes Mayato putting a lap on Lane Sulfridge, who is very slow, and he's going to bring it down the pit lane as well. No pun intended. Safe Fair is working off of pit road. He'll have to try really hard to stay out in front of Keith Mayato, who is closing in now into turn number 1. Safe between the two corners. Going to be right on the tail end of the lead lap when he gets up to speed. If he can stay out in front of the 36, here they go. Safe off of the pit road. And here comes Mayato barreling down the back straightaway, just about 15 car lengths behind and closing. Safe will probably remain on the lead lap with those fresh tires, and he's trying to do the undercut. And we'll see if it works out for him. It hasn't cost him a lap at the very least. At the very most, he might be up there a bit closer to the front by the time things cycle out. We'll see who the next taker is to pit road. But so far, just 2 with Safe Fares and Lane Sulfridge. And Lane, of course, a lap down already, and probably another lap down here in just a few moments. But Seth Hatchell, he's run second all race long. A 2-time winner this year. Started the regular season with a victory and capped off the regular season with a victory. But has yet to find victory lane here in the playoffs. Last year he found a few victories in the playoffs and has yet to repeat that success. But he's had some very strong runs. The runner-up last week at Dover. And also a couple of pretty good performances in the first 2 races of the playoffs as well. So We'll see what he can do to try and close the gap. He may have to play a little bit of the undercut strategy here to catch up to Mayato, or maybe a bit of the overcut could work as well. As we are waiting for other drivers to bring it down, it looks like there aren't any takers. So Safe Fair is pitting quite early, I think, compared to what most of these driver strategies are. And that is going to shake things up a little bit as they continue to make laps around here. Safe may be shaken. Maybe I pitted too soon. But right now he's putting down some great lap times. 51.2 last time by, 1.6 seconds faster than Keith Mayato. By the time this all cycles out, he could be the race leader. I think Safe was probably about 8 or 9 seconds behind Mayato. So if Keith stays out here for about 5 or 6 more laps, I think Safe would end up cycling through as the race leader. And we're waiting for other drivers to bring it down, but nobody just yet. Battle brewing right outside the top 15. This is Cody Adkins and Nick Alves. That's Cody, not a great run out of turn 4. Nick really shot out of a cannon that time. He's going to try and make the move to the inside. That'll be for the 15th spot. The Tricky Gaming on Facebook machine going to make that pass and slide right up in front of Cody Adkins. See if there's anybody else racing it up out here. Dallas Sullivan, between Josiah Vincent and Alan Dice, has not been able to make more progress, still in the 12th spot. And Josiah starting to show off a little bit of speed here. He was about a half second faster than Dallas during the last lap. And we'll see if he can close in even more and start to climb towards that top 10 again. And now we've got some cars coming to pit lane. That is Seth Hatchell. He's trying to do the undercut as well. And that may cause Keith Mayato to try and respond next time around. We'll see if he brings it down the pit lane. See if anybody else is on pit lane this time. It appears it is just Hatchell with the early pit stop. This could work out pretty well for Seth if Keith does not respond here in the next 2 laps. I think Seth would cycle out as the race leader. But waiting and watching to see what the 36 does. Mayato out of turn number 4. He is not going to bring it down this time. He only had about a 2-second lead. And he's still putting down fantastic lap times, faster than anyone else by 3 or 4 tenths of a second. That time by not quite as fast, but still 3 tenths faster than second place Chris Samard. 3 tenths faster than Eric Hutton. As Hatchell back on the racetrack now behind Safe Ferris. That's how much time Safe gained. And Safe still running 51.4s. Here comes Michael Newman onto pit lane. He spun into the pit road entrance. What happened right here? Trying to slow it up as much as he could. Just too hard on the brakes. Hits the inside wall. Hits the tire barrier. And luckily, not back onto the racing surface. That could have really shaken things up. Here comes Dallas Sullivan. He's going to try and do a little bit of the undercut as well. Already completing service on that race car, and he'll get put a lap down to Keith Mayato. And here comes Chris Samard. He's on pit lane. Who else is going to bring it down here? You see the 71 getting out of the way once again. He's on pit lane. Dennis Steele bringing it down. So we've got takers at this point. And Keith Mayato with a 5.5 second lead over Eric Hutton. When does he bring it down? He will surely have lost the lead to Seth Hatchell. As Seth starting to do battle here with the 44 of Safe Ferris. And this could be really the race for the win if things stay as they are. Chris Samard just about to roll off a pit road. He will probably go a lap down. Or rather not. He will get passed up by his teammates there. And no other takers just yet. Still watching to see if anybody brings it down this time. And I think Nick Starling, he's trying to get it locked down and really hard on the brakes there. Locked it up, smoke flying. He did get it down to speed, I think, so we'll have to see if that is the case. the only taker on this lap for the moment, as Mayato still 5.6 seconds out in front. He's probably hoping that they get to wrecking at some point here, because he has seen his teammates all come down pit lane other than Ryan Gemmel. Just keeping an eye out for anybody else. Here comes Mayato. He's going to answer, but will he have lost the lead by this point? And does Hutton come with him? Hutton's going to stay on the racetrack. And that's going to be the first new leader of the race. Hutton will lead at the line. And AJ Stravato's brought it down along with the race leader. And we'll see a few more. Eric Lambert, Josiah Vincent bringing it down this time. Could be a few more behind them. Also coming in, we'll see. Looks like Jacob Houston might be slowing down for a pit stop. That is not the case. A few drivers getting in their box. When does Hutton come down? He's got Dallas Sullivan right behind him. Dallas one lap down, but about to unlap himself as he's putting a lot of pressure on the race leader. And he may work to the inside this time, or maybe the 77 is coming in this lap, and Dallas will be able to drive right around. That does look like it's going to be the case. Eric pushing the issue, headed towards the pit lane, trying to lock it up and get down to speed. Really hard on the brakes right there, and he will get down to speed. Jeremiah Vincent across the start-finish line. He'll take over the race lead. Ryan Gemmel also staying out. I think Ryan thinking about those bonus points for leading a lap. Nick Gardner, Alan Dice, Nick Alves, Cody Adkins all on the pit lane, along with Hutton. And quite a few drivers staying out on the racetrack for now. It looks like 8 have yet to pit, maybe a few more in there as well. But right now, net leader would be Seth Hatchell. He's got a good advantage over the cars behind him. Putting a lap on the number 70, or actually making a pass for position, which will probably end up being a lap difference between those two while still having yet to pit. Seth already back up to the 9th spot and only 25 seconds behind the race leader. There's Mayato way back there. And Seth Hatchell may have played this perfectly. We'll have to see. But how about this Jeremiah Vincent? Out in front of Eric Lambert. Lambert trying to get back on the lead lap as he works to the inside of the 9 car. Nick Alves coming off a pit lane along with others like Cody Adkins. Jacob Houston rolling off a pit lane right now along with Robert Gilmore. Those guys getting back up to speed after a little bit longer pit stops. And that leaves just 9 cars yet to pit. Safe Ferris, the earliest to get down pit road, and he is right now in front of Keith Mayato, and Keith with a huge tire advantage over the 44, trying to get through traffic as quick as possible. He's got a gap to make up on Seth Hatchell, and it is pretty large. Right now it's about 4.5 seconds as Seth continuing to make his way around here at a really good pace. But Keith, about 1.5 seconds faster last time around. So we'll see how long this margin holds up and when they start to level off. But Keith really putting down some great laps right now. Has quite a few drivers yet to pit. Jeremiah Vincent continues to lead. Ryan Gemmel, Dennis Faircloth, Kyle Payne, Jordan Shepler to the top 5. And no guarantee on how this is going to work out. There could still be a yellow during the cycle. But Jeremiah Vincent leading some laps here at Indianapolis. And when does he bring it down pit lane? Still going to stay on the racetrack. Here comes Gemmel, who appears to be doing a bit of an overcut. We'll see if it works for him here. Only 16 or so laps to go when he's going to get back on the racetrack. So it might be too little too late with that strategy call, but we'll have to see how it works out for him. His teammate Seth Hatchell, the first car on the fresher tires, in the 8th position. He'll move on past Ryan and take over 7th as he's got Timmy Emanuele right here in front of him, still yet to pit. That 39 car. Just hoping for a yellow flag so he can get a bit of track position, and just not getting that kind of luck here tonight. Here goes Seth looking to the outside. I think Seth will probably just be able to drive right on past him down the backstretch. Timmy down to the inside. Seth going to take over the 6th position, and you see Mayato slicing and dicing behind. He's still got a ways to go to get up to Hatchell, but that gap about a second and a half smaller than it was before. And he's got an issue right there in front of him. That's Jordan Brickyard, the 84. Oh, and we've got a car like off the pace there behind him in the grass. That is Robert Gilmore, cuts across right in front of Chris Samard. That could have been a wreck right there in front of the leaders. And luckily they all get out of the way. Justin Carey able to get on pit road as well. But that was very close. Robert Gilmore and Jordan Brickyard. As Seth Hatchell now with only one car between himself and Mayato. That is the distance right there. The gap just about 1.7 seconds. So Mayato is really caught up. He's gained about 3 seconds on Hatchell here over the last few laps. But when does it start to even out? Last time by, Hatchell 1.4 seconds slower than Mayato. And it may not even out in time, but it might get close enough that Seth is going to be able to hold off the 36. And maybe Seth has been sandbagging a little bit as he pulls up behind Jacob Houston, who currently rides in that 23rd position. Jordan Shepler right here in front of him as well. Jordan in the 3rd spot. Jeremiah Vincent continuing to run laps out here in the race lead, but probably running low on fuel. Nearly 30 laps into this stint. Dennis Faircloth, one of the only other cars to stay out here. There's about 4 that have yet to pit. And we'll see if any of these guys elect to bring it down. Not this time for the top 2. Jordan Shepler getting passed up now by Seth Hatchell, and he's the only car between the V-Speed teammates. Mayato closing in at a rapid pace. Hatchell maybe seeing his time in front of the 36 coming to a close as he's starting to put some pressure on Jacob Houston to get past. And he'll go to the inside that time. And he'll make it on by the number 15 machine. But that gap that he had back to the 36 is gone. At this point, it's only about 8 car lengths. And it'll be right around 10 laps to go by the time they start doing battle. And Jeremiah Vincent, Dennis Faircloth yet to come down pit lane. When do those two bring it in? Not this lap. Dennis Faircloth, not this lap either. The top 2 still out there, but the gap back to the V-Speed teammates closing rapidly. And Hatchell looks like he's responded a little bit. He's picked up the pace. Now stretching a bit farther out in front of the 36 of Mayato. Does he have enough to hold him off? He's got 4-lap older tires. And Mayato so good on those long runs, but so is the 8 car. Both of these guys really masters of that long run. And Seth doing everything he can to try and capture his 3rd victory of the season and equal his teammates' win total. But it might be a little too much to overcome. Here comes Mayato, big run down the backstretch. He's going to get to the outside of Hatchell. And Mayato trying to take that spot back away. Seth's not just going to give it to him, I don't think, as he's going to dive down into the corner. Almost door to door right there. Really tight racing for the teammates as they make their way through 3 and 4. Hatchell trying to put the pressure on, can't respond. Here goes Mayato back to the net lead as Dennis Faircloth bringing it down the pit lane. That leaves just Jeremiah Vincent out in front of those 2 teammates. And he's got about a 13-second advantage back to the 36. And we'll see, I think Hatchell's missed his opportunity here. Maybe needed to pit a lap or 2 sooner, or later rather. And that may have been enough. Maybe pitting sooner. It's hard to say. The strategy call is such a tough thing to manage. And right now he's just got to be concerned about not losing the spot to Chris Samard, who's also got some fresher tires than he does. But Chris quite a ways back, 3.3 seconds. As Jeremiah continues to run it out here, it'll be 10 to go. And I don't think it's possible. It would be 43 laps for the driver of the number 9. And right now running a 54 flat to Keith Mayato's 51.9. So even if he could make it on gas, that's 2 seconds a lap. It will get a little bit less than that. Mayato will get higher in the 52s. but Jeremiah has to be saving a ton if he's hoping to make it to the end, and I just don't think he can keep up the pace. But Mayato working through some lap traffic is slowing him down just a little bit. That's exactly what Jeremiah wants to see, but the 9 car bringing it to the pit lane. Tried to make a bold strategy call, and it just has not paid off. The 9 car going to surrender the lead back to the 36 of Mayato, who's now pulled about 1.5 seconds out in front of his teammate Seth Hatchell, who's also racing around the lap traffic, some with fresher tires than him. That could really slow him down quite a bit. There has been a little bit of a change in position a little bit farther back. AJ Stravato able to get around his teammate Eric Hutton. That's for 4th and 5th positions. And here goes Hutton looking to the inside. Eric with 1 lap fresher tires. Safe fares with the oldest of any of these drivers, 20 laps on his, back to 6th right now. And still about 6.5 seconds back to Nick Gardner, who's just working out of turn number 2. So safe, probably in a good spot to finish in that 6th position. Ryan Gemmel right about where he was, maybe a few positions back. As Josiah Vincent, a very good recovery here in the second half of this race. Started 10th, fell all the way back to 15th, 16th, even farther. And now in the 8th spot with less than 10 to go. Gemmel with slightly fresher tires might be able to put the pressure on him. How about this battle between teammates 4th and 5th, nose to tail? I think AJ is going to cut him a bit of slack, knowing that Hutton needs the points. Nick Starling with some issues during the pit cycle. He did get a speeding penalty, it appears. And currently a lap down in 23rd. It's going to end a very good run where he was up in the top 10. Just really pushed the issue getting on the pit lane. Locked the brakes up. Did not get it down to entry speed. And paid the consequences during the green flag cycle. And right now, first car 1 lap down, Timmy Emanuele, who pitted just 4 laps ago. I think he took 2 tires. And just getting lapped by Keith Mayato. We'll see if he can keep up with him. Right now hanging tough with the race leader. And if anything was to happen, it would really change the outlook of this race. Mayato now 3.2 seconds out in front of his teammate Seth Hatchell, looking like he could capture his 4th win of the season. And no significant battles to speak of other than this one. Ryan Gemmel has gotten around Josiah Vincent. And the 6 car back to the 8th spot. And we'll see if he has time to catch up to Nick Gardner, who's got older tires as well. 2.5 seconds up the road. He'll have 5 laps to do it as he gets to the start-finish line this time. How about Eric Lambert here in 11th? What a run for the driver of the number 3. Up 3 spots. Very quiet mid-pack night, but one of his better performances of the season. That is for sure. Almost a top 10, and he could still have a shot at it if any of these drivers up here in front of him make any mistakes. Right now matching the lap times or bettering those of the drivers behind. Dallas Sullivan with a slow lap. He is a bit off the pace here. And a little bit of damage on the right side. So Dallas's really strong run this evening not going to amount to as much as he probably hoped. Still improving over where he started at this point in the race, but he's got a couple drivers closing in from behind. That is Dennis Faircloth going to take 13th. And here comes Jeremiah Vincent on very fresh tires, trying to work his way back up towards the top 10. Meanwhile, Keith Mayato still being stalked by Timmy Emanuele on those 2 tires. The 39 car trying to keep up with the race leader, maybe learn a couple things and take that into next week. But Mayato, dominating performance so far this evening, 64 laps led after starting on the pole. Looks like he will probably end up leading a total of 69 laps out of the 80 that are run if things stay green. And under quite a bit of pressure from that 39 car. I'm surprised Timmy's racing him this hard, but I think he's just trying to get back on the lead lap for posterity, and doing a good job of keeping up with the race leader on those 2 tires, that is for sure. But Seth Hatchell tried a strategy call, did not work for him. He's currently 4.2 seconds back and fading. But Chris Simard not close enough to take advantage. Eric Hutton also a bit too far back to catch up to those two, I think. And AJ Stravato has lost touch with the 77. And mostly all of the top 10 separated by at least 1 second. The smallest margin between Ryan Gemmel and Nick Gardner, actually. And Ryan could get up there and challenge for that 7th spot. 3-lap fresher tires. He's reeled them in from 2.5 seconds back, now down to 1. A little bit of a blinking issue right there. Josiah Vincent in that 9th position. Real strong run here in the second half of the race. 3 laps remaining for him to capture this top 10. How about Alan Dice up here in 10th position? Started in 11th. Good race for Alan. No real mistakes at all. That 57 car looking very strong tonight. 25 seconds behind the race leader. Just running his own race here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Looking to come out of here with the top 10. Eric Lambert, though, a bit farther back. He's got Jeremiah Vincent closing in on much fresher tires. And this may relegate the 3 car back to the 12th position, as you see Jeremiah just rapidly closing up. 1.8 seconds faster last time. And he's going to work to the inside. Eric's just going to roll over and let him have it. No way you can contend with that kind of speed. But 2 laps to go for Keith Mayato. Just a few more corners and hoping for no crashes out in front. He's let the lap cars all on past. And he is just running his own race here. He has slowed up quite a bit. His teammate Seth Hatchell, 2.6 seconds behind. And I'm not sure if Keith thinks he might not make it on fuel or something, or maybe he just let those guys past just so they weren't challenging from behind. But he's got 1 more to go. White flag in the air. Mayato looking to advance to round number 3 and continue this trend of just Mayato and Stravato winning playoff races this year. They have traded off of each other back to back. It was Mayato, then Stravato, Mayato, then Stravato, and it might be Keith Mayato again. Down the back straightaway, 2.2 seconds over his teammate Seth Hatchell. No threat from behind. I think he's got fuel to make it as he works through turn 3. And now, into turn number 4, Keith Mayato headed towards the yard of bricks. And he's going to take his 4th victory of the season. Keith Mayato wins at Indianapolis Motor Speedway and is moving on to round number 3 of the playoffs. But we've got a battle brewing back here. 7th and 8th, Nick Gardner, Ryan Gemmel. Gemmel, those fresher tires really pushing out of turn number 4. Not going to be enough. Nick Gardner is going to hold on for the 7th position. I think, as Gemmel big run. Yep, Gardner at the line. He'll take 7th spot. Gemmel 8th. And Keith Mayato, again, your race winner. What a drive by the V-Speed driver there in the 36 machine. 69 laps led, started on the pole, and he takes home the victory here over his teammate Seth Hatchell, Chris Simard, completing the V-Speed podium. These guys have really picked it up here over the last few weeks. Keith Mayato, great race once again, and he tops it off with a victory this time. And his luck has officially turned around here, I think, in the below the Double Yellow Cup Series. Still looking for that horseshoe over in the Virtual Racing League as he burns it down here on this very tight front straightaway. Congratulations to Keith on the big win here and moving on to round number 3. We'll be right back with the post-race interviews and your final results.
Hey, honey.
It's happening. The baby's coming.
Okay, I'm on the way.
Hey, buddy. You ready for the big game?
You're gonna be there. Right, Dad?
Pal, you can count on me. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Hey, honey, Josh's flight landed early. He'll be here about 6:30. Can you make it?
Okay. I'm on my way.
We've got total gridlock out there this afternoon.
The average American spends over 40 hours a year, nearly 2 full days, stuck in traffic on our broken roads and bridges, while our lives move full speed ahead. It doesn't have to be this way.
Where is he?
Husband's on his way.
It's time for Washington to get America moving again by finally funding our country's infrastructure.
Where's Mom?
Tell Washington to fund America's infrastructure, because life won't wait.
Back at the racetrack now, we'll see if we can pull in our race winner, Keith Mayato. Keith Mayato, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy.
10-4.
Well, Keith, another bit of good luck here in the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series. And man, what a dominating race tonight. You and AJ Stravato continue to trade wins off of each other here in the playoffs. You capture your third out of the last 5 races. Man, what a performance. How do you feel about tonight's run?
Very happy with the run tonight. It was nice to start up front and hold that position, because positioning was everything. If I were to fall back or make a mistake in the pits, I think that would have taken the win away from. I would have taken the win away from myself. So, very happy with it. It's nice to finally get one that not goes to plan, but goes nice. It's smooth. It was a smooth race. Very easy.
Yeah, no real setbacks in this one. You were out front basically the entire time. There was the bit of pit strategy, under green there at the end. Were you concerned that Seth might have, found something to be able to beat you with the pit strategy, or were you, set, to follow a plan and you were committed to it?
I did see him pit quite early, in that run because we didn't even complete like 20 laps on that on that set of tires. So I knew if I had pitted like a lap later or 2 laps later, it wasn't enough. So I stayed out. And luckily, he did run into a lot of traffic when he already had quite a few laps on his tires. If it was clean track and I somehow got trapped behind like the lap cars like I did there at the end, I would have made that pass. So it's all circumstances. If he didn't have all that tough traffic to go through when he had used up his stuff, I don't know if I would have caught him. It would have been, but it would have been interesting. I'm happy it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, and you did end up driving quite a ways away from him. We saw the time kind of tick down there. It seemed like you let the lap cars pass, and then are content to ride behind them with that huge margin. But your 4th win of the season coming here at Indianapolis, and you're locked into round number 3 of the playoffs. But before we get there, we go to Martinsville next week. And how do you feel about that track?
Used to hate it. I'll just continue to hate it because it's been working out and been getting good finishes. I'm kind of happy that with tonight's stage wins and the win, I'll get the bonus points, so I don't have to rely so much on next week. Because next week at Martinsville is going to be interesting. I'm sure we're not going to have the long green runs that we had tonight.
Yeah, it's going to probably be a bit of a different race with so few cautions here tonight. Really clean racing, tough racing, and you dominated pretty much the entirety of it, starting on the pole, leading 69 laps, and pulling away at the end to take your 4th victory of the season. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you go celebrate?
To our race sponsor, Illinois Trucking Association, yourself, Adam, with V-Speed, and all our streaming sponsors, and everyone at Below the Double Yellow. They do a good job.
Awesome, Keith. Well, congrats again. Race win number 4 for the driver of the 36, and we'll catch you next week at Martinsville.
I'm excited.
We'll see how it goes. All right. Next in line, Seth Hatchell, 2nd place finisher. See if we can pull him in. Seth Hatchell, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Seth, not quite enough there at the end, but you gave it everything you had, and it was only 2 seconds there in the closing laps. Did you find something and you were starting to track him down, or do you think Keith was maybe saving a little bit right there?
I'd like to think I found a little bit, but I think it was more of Keith letting those lap cars go, and then he had a little bit of dirty air, and he sort of knew that he had a cushion. If I would have gotten any closer, I would have started to level off there. But happy with the finish. It was extremely hard to pass tonight, nearly impossible. They're really just trying to set up for that green flag pit stop, trying to get Keith on the back foot, make him go on the offensive. And even without traffic, I don't know if I would have been able to hold him off. I think it would have been closer, but just got held up a little bit too much in traffic there, and he's able to get by. But good job by him. I think he was the quickest car either way. But happy to finish 2nd.
Yeah, you guys were solidly 1st and 2nd the entire race. Other than, I think, a pit cycle, you came out in 3rd, I think, for a moment. But 2 second-place finishes here in round 2. You've got one more race in this round at Martinsville next week. How do you feel about going out there?
That'll be interesting. It'll be hard to pass there too, but you can sort of move guys around there. So we'll have to see if guys being frustrated with one another, if that sort of boils over there. I imagine there'll be a lot of incidents, and it may end up a lot like Nashville earlier this year. But I think our team's pretty quick there. We'll throw up some sessions and figure out long run speed, fuel run, stuff like that, and we'll be ready to go for Martinsville.
Yeah, and you're putting yourself in a good spot to pretty much advance no matter what. You came in here 2nd in the standings behind Stravato. Now Keith locking himself in, but you should have a pretty good margin to the cut line, so maybe a little bit of a load off your shoulders going in there, but we'll have to see how things settle out here with the points tonight. But 2nd place finish after starting in 3rd. Anybody want to give a shout out to for the runner-up finish?
Yeah, I got to thank tonight's sponsor, Illinois Trucking Association, and all the league sponsors that let us do our thing. I got to thank you, Adam, for the broadcast and doing a great job with those. Got to thank Nick and all the admins. They do a good job. All the drivers putting on a good race, and my team V-Speed.
Awesome, Seth. Well, part of the V-Speed podium here tonight. Congrats on the 2nd place run 2 weeks in a row. and we'll see if you can cap off round 2 with a win next week at Martinsville.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. That's Seth Hatchell's second place finisher. Let's go to third place now, Chris Simard, as we pull him into the booth. Chris Simard, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Sure.
Well, Chris, part of the V-Speed trio up here on the podium. You guys were up there all race long. You were basically second or third the entire night. Good run here at Indianapolis. How do you feel about tonight's performance?
It was good. I needed all those stage points. Third place in both stages. It helped me a lot for Martinsville, and finishing third was it felt really good. So it feels really good when I have a race like this. It gets me optimistic for the other races. So I don't think I had enough for Keith, but I had a little bit for Seth. But he pit a couple laps earlier than I did, and at the end there, and I just couldn't catch up to him at the end. So
yeah, that ended up really being the difference. I think about 2.7 seconds separating you guys, but you were mainstays up there in the top 3 all race long, so definitely had it figured out. Maybe a little bit of practice throughout the week or something like that, but definitely good speed for the V-Speed cars. And we do go to Martinsville, like you already mentioned, next week. I know you like that place, but how are you feeling about going out there?
After tonight, I feel pretty good. I have to thank Keith for giving me some wheel settings that helped me out for this race. I wasn't all that great in practice, but the wheel settings helped out a lot, so I have to thank him for it. And all my V-Speed teammates, they helped me out pretty good. So I'm optimistic about Martinsville. I love the track. I love the sharp corners, and it's just I don't know, it's a short track. I love short tracks, so hopefully I do well.
Yep, us Northeast boys, we like it there, and definitely had some good races with you there in the past, and looking forward to see what you can do and see if you can lock yourself into round number 3 with a win or otherwise on points. But a great performance, like you said, pretty much third all race long. You got all those stage points. After starting in second, you come home on the podium. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Illinois Trucking Association for sponsoring this race. You up in the booth, Adam. It's nice to talk to you again. I haven't been up here for a while, so it's nice to talk to you again. You do a great job of the broadcast. All my V-Speed teammates and my wife and son.
Awesome, Chris. Well, congrats on a great run here in round number 2 of the playoffs, and we'll catch you next week at Martinsville.
Yeah, for one other thing, I like to thank my dad for telling me to take it easy tonight, just to run the track. That helped out a lot too. So
there you go. Congrats, Chris. We'll see you. I'll see you a little bit after the broadcast here, but great run tonight, man, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, Adam. Have a good one.
All right. That was Chris Simard, third place finisher, getting some advice from his dad to take it easy here tonight. And comes home on the podium as a result of that. So obviously didn't take it too easy. But great run for the V-Speed drivers. They finished 1, 2, 3, 2 cautions in tonight's race. Just one for an accident, and that was the 71 machine of Lane Sulfridge, bouncing it off the outside wall between turns 1 and 2. And only 3 lead changes in tonight's race, and only a few leaders ultimately showing the way. Keith Mayato, a dominating performance, leads 69 out of 80 laps, takes home the victory here and locks himself into round number 3 of the playoffs. Seth Hatchell, his teammate, will finish in the second position, just a couple seconds behind him. Chris Simard finishing in third, Eric Hutton 4th, AJ Stravato 5th, Safe Ferris, good run in the 6th position. Nick Gardner finishes 7th. Ryan Gemmel able to take 8th position, not quite close enough for that 7th at the line. And then Josiah Vincent 9th. Jeremiah Vincent comes home with a top 10. In 11th position was Alan Dice. Eric Lambert, very strong run from him, finishes 12th. Dennis Faircloth, very quick in practice, didn't amount to as much as I'm sure he hoped, but a solid race here in 13th. Nick Alves in 14th. Cody Adkins 15th. Kyle Payne 16th. Dennis Steele 17th. Timmy Emanuele finishes 18th. Jordan Shepler 19th. And Jordan Brackell in the 20th position here tonight. 21st was Jacob Houston. 22nd, Nick Starling. 23rd, Lyle Sulfridge. 24th, Robert Gilmore. 25th, Dallas Sullivan, who ends up a lap down. Didn't see exactly what happened to Dallas, but a late stop for fuel, it appears, put him deep in the pack. Not the result he was hoping for, I'm sure. Justin Carey, 26th. Lane Sulfridge, 27th. Michael Newman, 28th. And Tony Baird rounding out the field here is going to need a win to advance next week at Martinsville. He finishes 29th. But again, race winner Keith Maiato here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I want to thank you all for tuning in here tonight. Again, we'll be back here on Twitch next week with the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series on Thursday. And then following that, we will be switching to YouTube and Facebook exclusively for broadcasts, and other content will be here on Twitch. So check us out at all these different social media outlets to stay up to date with what we're doing. You can also find us at vspeedsim.com to learn more about what we offer and how we can take your iRacing experience to the next level. Let's see who we can jump in with following tonight's race. Looks like Justin Botello, and we're going to jump in with him. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in, and hope you enjoyed. Have a great night.